Welcome back, guys, to episode 4 Scrubbed In. You're joining me and Abdul, and we're going to be today talking about essentially the first week of medical school. So, Abdul, let's take it away with how did you feel when you first actually got the offer to study medicine?
Wow, you went straight into it, man.
Straight in.
So you know, from what I can remember, you know, the way you obsess over UCAS, every time you get a notification, you kind of log in to see if it's a rejection, if it's an interview. So having done my interview at King's, I remember logging in, you get the notification to UCAS, and it was in the evening, like a month or two after my interview, so it's towards, you know, the summer. And I remember getting this notification, and as soon as you open the interview, it says accepted.
Yeah.
Or like offer.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's got one of them ones, and provision offers, and boy, your head just spins. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like you don't realize how hard you've worked until that moment in time, and then it all makes sense, and it's like all the dots have connected, and you look back. So you're it's a surreal moment. Like, I don't know what to think. And I remember seeing the offer, like, congratulations, and it gives you the course details, all these bits and bobs, and these are your requirements, and these are your days you need to respond back, so and so. So, you know, you're grateful to God, you know, alhamdulillah, you've done it. And then at the time, you know, I don't know if you remember, like, I was in a small, you know, 2-bedroom flat in London, and only my dad was him, so I kind of went to him, and I told him, Dad, look, you know what, I've got an offer, I'm going to become a doctor. Bear in mind, this is someone who wanted me to work.
Yeah.
In his hand, he had that pivot moment, and he thought, my son's made it. You know, he just thought, you know, you get off and then you're a doctor within a week or two, and you're gonna kill it. You're gonna earn so much money, right? So he's just
dollar
thinking,
signs in his eyes.
So he's thinking, my son's a doctor, right? And he's like, we need to tell everyone, yo, well done. By the time my mum was at home, so she was out, you know, teaching. And I remember when she came home, and I was just so excited to tell her, because it's all surreal, right? It's all what if, and then it becomes, I can now. It's happened. It's reality. And I remember I told her, and she was just like super grateful immensely. And I still remember till today, like, she said something. She said, you know, well done on getting into med school, but the important thing is you're grateful, but keep your head down and get out of medical school and become a doctor. And she's like, the journey begins now. So, you know, make the most of it. And in that moment, I think I realized that, do you know what? It's a reality. It's starting to become true that I can now truly make a difference. And as I'd imagine with most things, it probably took me a few days to finally realize that, you know what, I've done it. I've got an opportunity to study medicine, and I want to go for it. You know,
awesome.
Yeah, man. I've never kind of told anyone about it.
Even right now, you're feeling emotional.
Yeah, man.
You look like, emotional, man.
Yeah, man. Like, no, it was. You know what? It was a good moment.
You're gonna start crying now.
Yeah, and then obviously, and I remember I'm kind of calling everyone up and saying, you know, my son's gonna be a doctor, and everyone's, you know, and in an Asian household, regardless if you're a doctor or not, as soon as you're a medical student, you are a doctor.
You're a doctor, that's
so you're
it.
referred to as a doctor, and you know, and I enjoyed those few days. But then, you know, it's exam season, so you kind of buckle down, and I had something to work to now. And I think, you know, as you may have gathered, I was neither here nor there. I was really on it, motivated to do it, but at the same time, I didn't really care too much if I didn't do well. But now I had a goal to work towards, and I knew that, you know, head down, smash the exams, get into med school. Yeah, man, how was yours? I don't think we ever talked about your one,
So again, same thing as you. So I think we had a date for when the offers were being released. And I remember UCAS being UCAS, and it's how it is within the systems. It's always late, isn't it? I remember finding out around 1 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah, they did that. It's always 11. Yeah, it was in the night.
Why is it so late? Anyways, so yeah, I saw those words, congratulations. And you know that feeling of like, it's like a sinking feeling inside, like, how can this be true? Like, like, again, the concept of coming from the working class background, living in a 2-bedroom flat, when being the first to go to university, it's like, really, like, I've got a place to study medicine amongst all of our peers who have a sort of really prestigious background, to be amongst those. So I just remember a sinking feeling, and it took a while to process. I read it several times over. I thought it was a fake. I was checking it.
You never believe it's you, isn't it?
I was checking my emails, I was checking UCAS, I was logging in everywhere to make sure it all matched up. And that sinking feeling just lasted for about, I'd say, 2 minutes. And it was like the longest 2 minutes of my life, because it was like, wow. Right? And I genuinely had tears of joy. Like my eyes teared up and I had tears of joy. And the thing is, it was just me alone in my room, so it was just me processing it all alone. And I felt overwhelmed. Like, you can imagine, like, it's a dream, right? At first it started off as a maybe, then it became a possibility. Then you sort of had conviction and you said, I will become a doctor. And when you see that conviction sort of bear fruits, and the fruits of opportunity open up, and then the fruits of a place opens up, just like I can become a doctor now.
Yeah, man.
And it just, so it's you're feeling the emotions that you felt, and I'm feeling it now.
I think the funny thing with this, you know, I don't think people know as to the reason as to why we did it. With, you know, this whole podcast is not only to kind of like inspire people, but show people like us from our background can go and make it, not only in medicine, other things. And I don't think we've ever talked about this. I know we've you know, we've been together for the last how many years, but we've never kind of sat down and talked about this. Like, how did you feel? Because we didn't really talk about much before college and stuff like that.
But just the process of like feeling it all, I can feel it all now. So anyways, after it sort of sank in, and I sort of became that, I was almost paralyzed. Anyways, I just remember, so at the time we had loads of guests over, and I just ran to my mum, because my mum was the one that said to me, you will become a doctor. I don't want to hear no plan B, plan C. I don't want to hear about this, that and the other. You said you want to be a doctor, you can become a doctor. So I ran to my mum and I said, Mum, I've got the place. And she was just like, well done, just well done. And you know how it is with Asian parents. They won't really show you how happy they are. But then, as soon as you go back into it, you can hear them on the phone and screaming, "Oh my God, my son's got a place."
What do you think about that? You know, like same as me. Like my parents will never, you know, praise me in front of me. You know, my mom, you know, she's always there to humble me, and I think it's very good. I needed this type of thing. But at the same time, you know, as you're going upstairs, you can just hear them on the phone. And he's like, you know, thank God my son's amazing, or he's going to medicine, and they kind of tell the world about you. What's your viewpoint on that? Do you think, you know, as Asians or like, you know, our parents, should we be more open with our children and kind of praise them in front of them, or like, you know?
So you know what, thinking about that's actually very important. I have a stance where I think it's good. And I think we need to do something else a bit better. So I'll start off with what's good about it. What's good about it keeps us rooted and grounded always. We don't think we're invincible, right? For example, I remember genuinely walking into the first day of med school and so forth, and thinking, wow, I've got a string of A stars, I'm amazing, I'm a genius. I remember it was a bit of arrogance creeped in. But then I remember just seeing individuals and the senior mentors that we'll talk about later on. I remember seeing them with the same as me, and everyone else was the same as me, but they had greater accolades, and I'm just thinking, I'm a no one. So I had to root myself again. So I think our parents, what they do is, by not sort of lifting us onto this sort of platform of just invincibility, it keeps us grounded and rooted, and it drives us, because we are constantly going for the next goal, constantly going for the next accolade, the next project, the next publication. We want to go to America and everywhere else to do all these different things, and I think it keeps you motivated, driven for even greater success. That's what it does. And I think our parents, they don't even know that they're doing that, but I think it's something that they've refined possibly over generations, where they know that the kid does that. I don't know, I'm not a parent, but I don't know. There's something special to that technique.
I just remember that, like, it's always interesting. They never praise in front of your mom. Will be like, you know, she'll be like, I'm really proud of you, happy.
But they're screaming their heads off behind closed doors. Like,
you know, and I remember, like, you know, we're currently doing up a house now, right? And you know, I'm you know, fixing up the house, and I went to buy sofas recently. And you know, I'm going there, and you know, sofas have gone a lot expensive recently, right?
They're not cheap now.
And my dad thought I made it 6-7 years ago already, right? So first he goes in the shop, you know, like he'll be like, we'll sit down, and you know, these are like fairly expensive. And the first thing he'll be like, my son's a doctor, don't worry, credit check, credit's gonna go through. And like, but he never ever, I think, to me, has said congratulations on being a doctor. Like till today, I don't think he ever congratulated me, like, you know, well done, son, you become a doctor.
But to everyone else,
to everyone, he's like, and I know he's super proud of me, but I just thought, you know, it's quite interesting in terms of you know, how parents, you know.
You know what? Interesting for you though, on graduation day.
Yeah.
Your mother couldn't hold it back because she
Yeah.
just started weeping, didn't she?
Yeah, I remember
seeing
when-
you in the robe.
Yeah, as soon as I came in the robe.
Yeah.
So you go early in the morning, and Mom's a very emotional person, isn't it? So I remember I got the robe, and then I walked towards her, and as I was walking towards her, I remember she was just pouring out. She was crying.
That was your congratulations.
Yeah, and I think that in that moment in time, I know we're skipping so many years, but that, you know, it took us 7 years. Do you know what I mean, to kind of achieve that, and those were one of the reasons as to, you know, the fruits of your hard labor.
Yeah.
You know, not only do you get to become a doctor, you get to put a smile on your face.
Exactly.
Right? You know, we talked about in the first few episodes, and to date, that was probably the most, you know, proudest moment of my life, putting that smile on my mother's face, and you know.
Definitely. I think importantly though, going back to that topic of why they do that as well, I think one thing slightly needs to change going forward. I do think we need to start celebrating our successes. Sometimes it's an amazing feat for us, someone like people from our backgrounds especially, to get that place in med school. Yeah, it's almost like a Nobel Prize for us. Like the way getting a med school place is like unbelievable. So I do think we need to celebrate these smaller successes a little bit more, but at the same time, we have to consciously be rooted. Yeah. So that's important. Where were we before going off this tangent on?
So we kind of talked about our reactions, and we were, you know, we were both extremely happy, and it was a surreal experience. Oh yeah. So fast forward, how was, you know?
Wait, taster day.
Oh, what taster day, bro? I'll be honest, I didn't go to no taster days. I ignored everything. I got the congratulations, you know. I knew what to do. And I was so scared that I didn't get an offer. I remember after I achieved the grades I wanted, I called. You know, you call them, like the clearing, not clearing, I don't know what it is. You call them and you're like, you know, my name's Abdul, I'm calling, these are my grades. Do I still have my offer? And they're like, yes, of course, you have your offer. Well done. Congratulations. We'll see you on the 11th of September. And so, even for us, like you mentioned, you know, because we're on such a background, this is so, you know, obscene for us. And you have to remember, right?
We didn't want no taste. We just wanted to be there.
Yeah, so like, not only are we the first people to go to university, at the same time we're the first in our generation, in a few generations, to do medicine, right? So you have to understand, it's not only, you know, getting into university, taking yourself out of what you call the hood and whatever, you're doing university and plus you're doing medicine, so it's just a double whammy. And I remember just calling on the day, and I don't know if they thought I was clearing or not, I just had to confirm it. And taster days, that wasn't existent for me. I didn't attend anything.
Yeah, so I'm sorry we can't really give much on taster day. I didn't go either.
I'm sure you can find it.
Yeah, you can find it. Someone else will talk about it.
Someone will talk
I will
about
find someone to tell you about taster day. So let's skip that. Someone else can do that. I think we should skip to the first week. Yeah. First day of med school.
How was first day of med school, man?
I just remember, right, the day before I got out my shirt and trousers, I was thinking, I have now joined the sort of elite. So I ironed my clothes out. I ironed it, and then I got my mum to iron it. Can you iron a second time to make sure every single tiny crease is out? So it was ironed twice, made sure it was dry cleaned, and so I remember going in like really sort of smart, and I saw you. Should I tell them how you turned up?
So me, even till today, you know, my baseline, I know wearing scrubs, and at work, you're running around with shirts and trousers and it's all tucked in, and you know, my baseline clothes is trackies and hoodies, and these lot are annoyed at me because there's been so many times we went to restaurants after having meetings and whatnot, and because I'm in trackies and hoodies, they don't let us in, right?
Important startup meetings.
So
they've been kicked out.
We're having meetings with developers and whatnot, and you know, developers are coming from abroad to joining these projects, and we're trying to take them to a fancy restaurant, and me and trackies, they weren't gonna get in. But you know, first day of med school, I didn't see it as any different. I knew it was a privilege and an honor to be there. But me being me, and you know, trying to be genuine, and I didn't want to pretend to be someone I wasn't, because I didn't feel comfortable doing that. I rocked up late, and I rocked up in like trackies and a t-shirt and trainers. And I remember I walked into a room and I saw everyone super dressed, and you know, like, we're doctors. You know?
And you picked me to sit next to you.
So I had no one to choose. So I saw the only Asian guy, which happened to be Abs, and there was a little seat next to him. So I thought, all right, cool. And I went and sat next to him. Bear in mind, the person you sit next to at university, for the people that apply and go to university, they will most probably be your closest, the people that you will probably spend the next 6-7 years of your life with. And I remember I sat next to him, who was a complete opposite of me, very well dressed. Like, I'm credit to him, I've always been well dressed, even till today. And I remember I sat next to him, and I don't know what he was thinking.
I'll tell you what I was thinking.
I don't know, because I just sat next to you, you are my friend. You have to be my friend.
You remember, right? I ironed my clothes twice. I dry cleaned it. I made sure it was tucked in. I had a belt on, had shoes on. And then you turned up in your trackies and sat next to. I was just thinking, God, why is this guy sat next to me? I'm now amongst the elite. Like, he's gonna bring me down. And I was just thinking, oh God. And then tell him what you started talking about.
I remember. So I don't know. So the people at that time, it was the Tottenham riots.
Tottenham riots were going on at the time.
And then they were vandalising shops near Tottenham.
Yeah. There was
Oxford Street,
loads of
West
stuff
End.
going on.
And so we used to live kind of near central London, and we were, so obviously the aftermath was on our doorstep, and we kind of saw what was happening. Bins were on fire, and at the time it was Ramadan as well, I remember. So we're fasting, and like for Muslims they pray in the evening. So it was after that, and we're kind of looking around and like seeing the aftermath and this crazy madness, and I'm like excited. You have to bear in mind, half my friends were like So the next time I went to uni, I sit next to this chap, and I'm like, bro, did you see what happened yesterday? And he probably thought, I don't know what, like I was a riot or something.
So in my head it was like, I don't want to be talking about anything antisocial. Let's talk about biology, chemistry and physics. Right, and here you are talking to me about riots. I was like, this guy's lost the plot. He's come in trackies and jeans and talking to me about vandalism.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was the first sort of
day, I guess,
judgment I had on you. And yeah, no.
It was a funny time.
It was good
because we got to meet lots of people that day, and you get to meet people, and it's exciting, and you realize that for me, outside anything outside zone 1 and 2 I didn't regard as London. It was non-existent for me really. And you meet lots of people from different parts of the country, different places in London, from different backgrounds, and that was good. And I remember I'm someone that's quite, I have my group of friends and I don't like to mix back then and just be with them. And that's it, he's gonna be my mate, no one else. And I remember there was this guy, if he's watching, he knows who he is. He's the chap, that had the 23 or 4 different work experiences. And he did, he literally grabbed a chair and he went around. Do you remember?
Rotating every single person.
So he's sitting there, had a chat with them, and he's like, my name's, and I did X, Y, and Z. Then he went to a different group. And me and Hamza were sitting there, and we're like, bro, we need to be like him.
Mind you, we actually did click straight away.
Yeah.
People thought we were brothers or something.
Yeah. So I thought
we did actually click straight away. And we were like, wow, look at this guy who's rotating around every single person, every single group, asking people's names. This is the ideal doctor.
This is a medical student.
This is a medical
I don't
student.
think at the time we clicked, which is very good. I don't think we realised how similar our backgrounds were.
Yeah.
But we kind of saw everyone else, and we were like, you kind of imagine, that's the typical medical student, and like we're very close with all these people right now today. But yeah, it was a good time, and I remember telling him, bro, that's real socializing, that's networking, that's how you get to know everyone. And he's probably thinking, why am I sat next to this buffoon? But I think so. That was the first day. What did we do? So I think the first few weeks it's like different societies and freshers.
Oh yeah, freshers fair. Did you go to freshers fair?
Oh, freshers fair has changed my life. I went and I didn't know. There's Ryman store, isn't it? And they give you so many free stuff. What did you pick up? I remember I took everything. I didn't look.
I to this day I won't buy this sort of paper. So 100 GSM paper.
Yeah, they're very high quality.
Thick pad. I would only use it to make the best quality notes. I still have that paper left.
Yeah.
Right. I had that on Freshers for free. But you get loads of good stuff at the Freshers fair, don't you? You get loads of memory sticks, stationery. Freshers fair is one to go with a big rucksack.
Definitely, man. Like, Freshers fair is really good. If we're being a bit serious, like you get to see all the different societies.
Yeah.
And you get to see all the different interests and hobbies, and you get loads of free stuffs, and you kind of see oh, this is interesting. Oh, I've always wanted. I think for us it opened up our eyes into things that we couldn't access at uni. So stuff like fencing, and all these like computer and go-karting societies and karate societies, all these things that you would never have access to. The backgrounds they came from were there. And these
horse
are people,
riding.
Yeah, like weird stuff. I've never done it, but like they had so many different societies, people doing so many different things, and you're just thinking, wow,
yeah,
I can do this. University is a new life.
Yeah,
and that's what it is. University is about opportunities. So different societies. Did you join any societies? We joined a few together, but
we went together though, to them, didn't we? Do you remember the football trials? That was a good one we went to.
So
that's a good story. So in fact, so So we obviously spent a long time revising in our bedroom and not really working on our fitness, and we randomly decided to turn up to the first team football trials, right? And they get us to run.
Yeah.
And they get us to run and run and run. Yeah. Did we make any team?
We didn't get into any
There
team.
were 6 teams available. And our one friend that came with us, he managed to get into the second team as well.
Yeah. He was good. He was
really good. He's a really good footballer, though, isn't he? So basically, I just remember turning up and not being able to kick the ball the way I wanted. And
because you imagine, you know, when you play in the ends, you play in this little concrete pitch, and you're really good, and then you rock up here with this heavy profile,
and you're wearing those kickers that had 99 curl.
So, and my fitness was off. Till today, my fitness is off. But I remember we failed the football trials. But I didn't tell you, I also went to a badminton trial, by the way.
What?
Yeah. So I went to. I used to love playing. A lot of badminton at college.
Did you get destroyed by one of our mates just recently?
Yeah. So in badminton, we used to play in college badminton. Me, Abdul, all of these people that are close friends of mine that are watching. We used to play a lot, and we enjoyed it. And I was quite good. But then I went to university, and it's that whole, big fish in a small pond. And then you're just a little. You're like a prawn. You're a prawn in the ocean. And I remember, I got destroyed so bad on the court. Today is the first time I told anyone I did the badminton trial and I didn't get in.
I didn't know that.
Bro, I got annihilated. And I went by myself for, do you know what? I'm going to be really good. I'm going to get in. I'm going to tell my mates. I did so bad I didn't tell anyone till today. But I think if anything you take from this is there's so many different societies, and then we'll probably talk about the ones that we found beneficial and that kind of molded us to who we are today. But there's so many different societies outside of medicine that would encourage you to join, especially when you go to university. And we kind of talk about the things you can gain from science. But, if you've genuinely got some interest and passions that you had to put on hold while studying for exams, you can start doing it. Music, coding, design, tech, cook. If you can think of a society, I assure you, there is a society with other like-minded people doing it.
Or you can build one.
You can build
make your own society.
Yeah, if you
we did that. So
so those were the stories of failing epically at trials, and
we were just not made for football, I think.
I think we were made for football.
In fact, remember the UCL game we played?
Yeah.
So anyways, I organised a football match, right? 11-a-side against UCL. And what happened was that I was a captain of the team, and what I did was, I think halfway through the match, I decided to substitute Abdul. So I sort of took off my midfielder and I subbed on Abdul. Anyways, he got on at one end of the football pitch. And he decided to, because at the time we had the ball and we were sort of going towards the opponent's goal, striking. And he decided to run the whole length of the 11-a-side field. And he ran right the way past the opposing net. And I can see him signalling that he's come back off. And he literally substituted on, ran the length of the pitch and substituted himself back off. Bro, that was it. That was the whole game, his whole game, basically.
My fitness was appalling. But you know what? Like, we played, we ended up having massive friend circles at university. We played with each other and we enjoyed it a lot. And I think outside of medicine, societies and football and going out was the reason as to why a lot of our friends, we became close and we kind of got through medicine together. So I don't think.
Do you remember Freshers Week?
Yeah, Freshers Week. Yeah,
Freshers
Week was good.
It was good. We went to loads of events and
meet and greets and all these
and stuff.
But I think I know what you're talking about.
Remember the one day? Yeah, so there was this one day, right, that I remember we were sitting in Newhouse House. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Right, and we just thought it was coming to the end of Freshers Week, right, and we saw so many people around us, so many of our peers, right, going to different clubs and parties and things. And being Muslim, of course, it's not simply allowed to go to these clubs in this sort of environment, and it's not personally our scene at all. But I remember we just thought we're in a different environment for the first time in our lives, and we were just like, do you want to go?
It's just like you see so many people having fun, and it's like we've done everything except this one thing where you go out and drinking, and we just had that look. We just looked at each other and like, that's it. We're gonna go tonight. Yeah,
just to have a look. I remember saying, let's go have a look.
We'll put rules in place.
Yeah, we'll put rules in place. Let's go have a look.
We're not gonna drink. We're not gonna do anything.
But there were a few problems. I remember saying, but Abdul, I need to be home before 10.
Yeah.
My mom's not happy if I come home really late.
Yeah.
Which club?
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't know nothing.
Which club?
We didn't even have to get there.
For a daytime event.
And I remember it's just like we had the look.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably a bit difficult to explain. It's just without saying anything, we just looked at each other, and it was like a eureka moment for both of us. Like, right, the last thing we need to do is to get the most freshest week. We're going to hit this club, chill all night. And I think luckily lots of things or obstacles were put in place, you know, for he had to get home. We didn't really have a car to get there. And
you know what, it's the concept of fitting in. I think we're so fixated on wanting to fit in that we're willing to compromise sometimes our own principles. I think we came to that situation of we were in a new environment. We weren't around the same type of people that we were around at school or college. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think we wanted to fit in, but thankfully and gratefully, as we said in previous episodes, and we always keep on banging on about mentors. So what happened was they found us. So within the Islamic society, we had these sort of senior mentors that just took us under their wings. And these guys, I remember, they were amazing in all senses, in the sense that they helped develop us in the academic terms, in terms of developing ourselves to become competitive and go on for publications and produce sort of research that is really sort of groundbreaking and so forth, whilst also going on to ensure we're sort of fitting into the community, having a good social support network, and just generally they were there for us to guide us and sort of give us good sort of mentorship, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, not only mentorship for me. It was, and just going back quickly, like the whole, this is a new environment, you're at university, and bear in mind for me, a lot of my friends didn't go to university. My best mate couldn't get into medicine, so he had to retake the year. The vast majority of the kids I grew up with, you know, they're what you call the ends, the hood, or whatever you want to call it, doing their own thing. And there's this pressure on you to fit in, like, you know, I need to act in a certain way, I need to dress in a certain way, I need to behave in a certain way. But the beauty of it all was, you know, as part of the Islamic society, these elders, mentors, and I'd also say they were like older brothers that we didn't have.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're individuals that had done the lectures, the clinical years, the placements, and they were someone that could rely on, and they could, you know, I didn't feel like I was doing this all by myself again. I felt like, you know, I had AMS and my other mates, and these elders, or mentors rather, that guided you, and like, you know, these are the lectures you need to go to, this is what you need to do, these are the extracurricular stuff, these are the things you need to do for publications, these are the courses you need to attend, etc. And we'll probably give you, you know, a bit breakdown of the different aspects to all of that. You know, and I think we might have dedicated a whole episode on how to get the most out of medical school. Yeah, definitely. But you know, we just probably want to thank them, and we're super grateful for these mentors and older brothers that we had.
Exactly. I mean, it just emphasizes the importance that you stick to who you are, and you don't compromise your principles, and you don't sort of just do something that and become something that you're not. I think we found ourselves within that community. We fitted in to the whole medical school. I think we began to just fit in. We stuck to our principles. We grew within our own faiths. We grew academically. We grew in our own sort of hobbies and interests in startups, and in generating extra projects and doing community work and charity work. I think that's who we are. Yeah. I think that's who we are. And we're looking back, that's such a funny story to just one day.
I think that one night, it's probably the difference, right? That one night, you know, who knows, we could have went that night and missed out on meeting, you know, these mentors, and, you know, we could have ended up in a whole different path. But definitely, you know.
Yeah, so that it's a society definitely that we are very thankful for, and it's in all dimensions.
Yeah, not just religion, and
not just religion.
And to be fair, a lot of these mentors, even like AMS, they were like first center students. They were at the top of the year. They were at the forefront of research. They were at the forefront of community projects and society work. So I definitely encourage all the individuals that are currently at university, that are going to go to university, see these different societies that may seem, do you know what, it's maybe a religious only society. And, you know, we're speaking from a point of view we ourselves built and did like medical journal societies and academic societies, so we know how it works. And would say we probably had a lot more benefit from these societies. And you have, you know, elders, mentors, brothers, and, you know, all these people that you can go out and have fun with. So definitely look into it.
Yeah, look into it. And I think every society has spin-offs. You get loads of societies that then form academic societies, and they're all open. They're all lovely. I remember going to the rugby society, and they had an academic sort of workshop lessons where their sort of senior rugby players who were doctors at the time came in to deliver lectures. So I think every single society has their own spin-off which attracts loads of different people. So it's great. It's absolutely great. So that's pretty much the first week. Can you think of anything else in the first week that we did, which was...
I think we've covered it. To be fair, we probably could talk forever.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be nice to kind of wrap off on that note.
3 tips then for the guys that will, or the guys who have secured sort of their place at medical school and they're going into their first week. What
definitely would say it's definitely going to be a new experience. You know, you're going to meet so many different and amazing and wonderful people. Go out, get involved. You never know, the people you meet that day or in the coming weeks will probably be friends you have for the rest of your lives, and you will end up doing lots of different projects outside of medicine with them. But I'd say don't worry too much about fitting in. Be you, be as you are. Don't worry about changing yourself. I was very conscious of the way I spoke, very conscious of, I came into uni with trackies and t-shirts and whatever, but at the back of my head it was still there. And the only reason I didn't come to uni dressed because I found it uncomfortable. I found it more uncomfortable dressing in formal wear than I did in trackies. But at the back of my head it was still there. And try find mentors, seek them out, seek out older medical students or seek out older students in general. They don't need to be medical students, and have them as a role model and join the different societies, because I assure you the skills you will pick up from these will be beneficial for you not only as a doctor but in other aspects of your lives. So if you want to
so my top 3 pieces of advice would be, number 1, right, don't sort of compromise your own principles and who you are, right? What you will find is that you will naturally fit in to the community at med schools, right? I think a lot of people, maybe from particularly our sort of backgrounds, because we've never been in that sort of environment where we're sort of apprehensive and anxious about will we fit in, and that was one of my fears. And I think by just sticking to who you are and being genuine to who you are, you will fit in. Number 2, I think definitely societies and at freshers fairs, and it's a great opportunity to do things that we could never do and we never had access to. Horse riding was one of those things, fencing and these other sports that we never got a chance to do. I think it's a great opportunity. And number 3, I'm gonna say, in fact, the same piece of advice that I think we've actually said on the first 3 episodes is seek out mentors, seek out people that can help you grow in the different sort of dimensions of your own life, if you have a faith, your own faith, your sort of academics, your sort of interests and hobbies, and if you want to pick up different hobbies and how to grow in all of those different dimensions. I think that's about it for this episode, isn't it, Abdul?
Yep. I think we've mentioned what we want to talk about, really.
So let's wrap it up then, isn't it? So I think that's the end of episode 4. Next week we will be talking about...
What we're going to be talking about? We'll figure out something. But it's probably... I don't know. We'll have
we haven't scripted it, so this is literally raw and uncut, right? So
we're just freestyling it. There's certain things we know we want to talk about, certain things that we thought would be beneficial. But a lot of it is just, me and Am just coming together. It's just, to be fair, it's an opportunity for me and Am to meet, in our busy schedules, just to catch up on work, really, and how we're doing. So we'll definitely have something amazing tuned in, for next week for you guys. So tune in, and you can also listen to the audio, which will be available. And once again, if you've got anything you want us to talk about, anything you're worried about, or you want to reach out to us, we're more than happy. All the details are down below. Exactly. Just send us an email and let us know if you'd like us to discuss anything particular or any questions that you have. We'd be happy to answer, I guess. See you next week otherwise.